Welcome to today's mobility routine. And I want to give a shout out for stepping in on this today. This is something that may not be something you always look forward to doing, but we know that it's good for you. We know you're going to benefit mentally and physically. So give yourself a pat on the back for sitting on today's session. Let's start by finding a nice and comfy spot, lying flat on your back, taking some attention to your breath, and just notice the sensation of your breath, where it's going, the depth of the breath, the pacing, and let's slowly try to massage that breath into something that's going to help us calm down. And generally a slower pacing helps us find that nice calming state mentally that helps the whole body start to slow down and set us up for better recovery and better movement. Today's routine, we're focusing on the shoulders and the ankles. So we'll take a couple of targeted breaths. On your next exhale, imagine letting go of any tension in around those feet and ankles. Feeling those toes get soft, feeling your ankles sink heavy into your mat. And on your next breath, imagine softening everything around those shoulders. Your head, your neck, your upper arm. Just let it all go to sleep as you let go of that air. Let's take one more breath here. And as you sigh out that breath, we'll grab that lacrosse ball and go face down and start to work on that left pec. And we'll start by panning your way through the muscle. Just do some searching, looking for what needs attention today. And it could be in around the sternum, it could be around the clavicle, it could be closer to the armpit, it could be pec major or minor. And if you're not super versed on anatomy, don't let the names or the exact locations throw you off. Just pay attention to how your body's responding. If there's a tight spot, if there's a knot, if there's something that feels sticky, like it's not moving real well, let that be your focus for today. And if you don't find anything in particular, just go with something. And once you found that spot, settle back to your breath. Try to keep that target tissue synced with your breathing. As you're letting go of air, imagine letting go of tension in your mind and in your back. Immensely staying in your happy place, turning off any muscle we don't need to hold this position right now. Let's take one more breath here. As you sigh out that breath, we'll stick with the left side and move into the lat. So basically on the opposite side of your body, that wing muscle area. Start by searching through that lat muscle. It is a big muscle. For a lot of people, it carries tension close into the armpit, but that doesn't mean it will for you. So do some searching, look for what needs attention. The lats are one of those muscles that tend to restrict overhead. So if you get your arm into an overhead position, that'll help you free up in the position of restriction. And again, with that pressure, we want to dive into what's getting us tension relief without pain, without other areas getting tense. And that said, we want to be progressive as you work your way through this program. So try to find that threshold where we're going as hard as we can without getting into pain or having other muscles tense up. And once we're there, settle back to your breath. Use your breath to help you stay nice and passive and get the biggest benefit here. Every chance we get, directing that air into the diaphragm. Let's take one more breath here. We'll sigh out that breath. And we'll switch into the right pec. Let's go face down on that lacrosse ball. Start with the search. Look for what needs attention. And you can experiment with your shoulder position. Again, getting into an overhead. Maybe you're in a bit of a scorpion in a Y position to get some of that overhead bias. Try to find a position you tend to struggle with and find a tissue that would benefit for some pressure to relieve that tension. And once you've found that area, you found that right amount of pressure, settle back to your breath. Try to direct that air deep. Breathe through the nose if you can. Staying nice and calm mentally and letting that calmness spread its way through the whole body. And as we're applying this, we can roll on that lacrosse ball. We can just hang out still. Try a bit of both and see what feels better. There are no hard rules with this. Just pay attention to your body. Let's take one more breath here. And as you sigh out that breath, we'll move into the right lat. So moving into that wing muscle. If you found a good spot on the left, you can test that same spot here on the right. And if it doesn't feel like it needs the same attention, you may find another area that will. The only way to know is by trying it out. And once you've found that spot, settle back to your breath. Concentrate on letting go of any stress. All that matters right now is you, that lacrosse ball, and your breath. Just take that time to appreciate some me time. And again, finding that right amount of tension that's going to give us a benefit without any pain, without anything around you tensing up. And keep searching through your body. Might be your face, might be your feet, anything that feels like it's on and tense, just hit that off switch, let it go to sleep. Let's take one more breath here. We'll sigh out that breath and move into a seated extension stretch. So start by sitting up on your butt with your hands behind you about hip width, and just slowly slide your hips away from your hands until you feel a stretch through the front part of those shoulders. And this doesn't have to be uncomfortable, just wait till you feel a stretch. Again, try to progress through this program consciously. Try to challenge yourself a little further into these positions every time we try them. And if this is a new stretch for you, go nice and easy. You have to continue to trust the process and be patient, and the results will come with consistency. Let's take one more breath here, and then we'll start to get active. And as we get active, imagine pulling your hands towards your hips to resist the stretch. And let's go ahead, starting with nice, easy tension. We're going to squeeze this space together in between your hands and your hips, ramping up that tension as we go, finishing with a big squeeze, really squeezing towards the end here. 3, 2, 1, let's gently reverse. Trying to separate your hands from your hips, ramping up tension as we go. Really squeezing here these last 5. 3, 2, 1. Let's let go of that breath. Find your passive position. Get nice and relaxed. Turn off any muscle we don't need. Mentally go to your happy place. And try to consciously find a state of calm. Let's take one more breath here. As you sigh out that breath, we'll grab a PVC pipe, or broom handle, any straight, relatively hard object. We'll grab it with the left hand and move into an external rotation stretch. So finding yourself in a front rack position, just getting a gentle pull, stretch through that shoulder. And anything that feels like it's restricting this stretch on the left side, try to mentally turn that muscle off. We want to be active through your right side to hold the stretch and push yourself into your end range. And we want to be passive on the left side as best we can. And in about 10 seconds, we'll gently get active by attempting to reverse the stretch. You're going to get active with both arms and attempt to arm wrestle that pipe towards your midline to resist the stretch. And let's go ahead, starting with nice, easy tension. Pressing up into that pipe, resisting the stretch, ramping up tension as we go. Finishing with big force here for these last 5. 3, 2, 1. Let's gently reverse. Actively trying to pull that pipe further into your end range. Pulling out towards the left side of your body with that pipe. Ramping up that tension as we go. Really squeezing here for the last 5. 3, 2, 1, big breath out, relax. Find that passive position. Still active with your right arm to hold that stretch. And if we're finding depth into position, it's more by relaxing that left side. Circling back to your breathing. Finding that type of breath that helps you relax. Stick one more breath here. We'll sigh out that breath and switch to the right side. Let's grab that pipe with your right hand into your front rack stretch. Use your left arm to pull yourself into that stretch. Working within your pain-free range of motion. And actively pulling deeper into that stretch with the left arm and getting as passive as you can through that right side. And again, any muscle on that right side that feels like it's stuck and feels like it's holding you back from getting further, just mentally try to relax it. Get as passive as you can. And work your way towards your pain-free end range. And in about 10 seconds, we'll gently get active through this right side. Attempting to reverse the stretch through that arm wrestling action. And let's go ahead, attempting to rotate that pipe towards your midline, slowly ramping up tension as we go. Keep ramping that tension up. Let's finish with big tension here for the end, really squeezing. 3, 2, 1. Let's gently reverse. Trying to actively pull that pipe further towards your right, using your right arm, ramping up tension as we go. Really squeezing here for these last 5. 3, 2, 1. Big breath out, relax, and find that passive position. So we're still active through the left to try to hold this pose, but we're as passive as we can possibly be through that right side. And just taking this opportunity to scan through any muscle throughout the whole body that is on that we don't need right now. Concentrate on getting passive. Take one more breath here. As you sigh out that breath, we'll shift our attention to the feet. We'll start with the left toes. So ideally shoes and socks off here. You can pause the video if you need to. And let's just start by working through those toes one at a time. The toes should twist along its axis. They should flex. They should bend. They should move in most directions. So just start by a little scanning, doing a bit of a self-assessment, how well your toes are moving. If any particular toes feel stiff, give it a little extra attention. And give it a tug along its axis to get a little distraction. You can passively move it into full flexion, extension, and give some extra tension into that big toe. And if you notice there's tension within the pads, feel free to Give a soft massage through those pads to try to ease some of that tension. This is a free-for-all. So really pay attention to how your body's responding to everything that we're working on, all those pieces. Anything that feels like a trouble spot today, let that be your focus. We'll take one more breath here, and we'll switch to the right side. So again, one toe at a time through the right foot. You can flex, you can extend, you can twist, you can pull along its axis. Just feel out what particular moves you're doing with those toes that are helping them free up their movement. And this is fairly active. Obviously, we're doing a lot of work with the upper body, but we're still trying to stay as passive as we can. If we're working through these toes and you feel muscles tense up, try to consciously hit the off switch and get them to relax. And doing your best to stay nice and calm and relaxed mentally. And again, paying attention to any particular area that needs extra attention today. You can work your way through the balls of the feet, the pads of the toes. It just feels like your toes could use a massage. Feel free to just focus on that. This is your routine here, and you are the only one that's going to know specifically what you need. Let's take one more breath here, and we'll slowly sigh out that breath. And we'll take our attention into a low dragon position. So letting your chest sink on top of your lower limb. You can be in an extended lunge position. Whatever you do with your right leg right now is really up to you. Our focus is on that left leg. And you might feel this stretch more with the heel up, more with the heel flat on the ground. It really depends on your own anatomy and your history and your preferences. Just go with what feels right. We're just feeling for a stretch around the mid part of that calf. And as we're sitting in this stretch, feel for anything that's holding you back. It might be the top of your foot, it might be your ankle, it might be your calf. Anything that feels like it's not letting you get deeper in the stretch, just hit that off switch. In a few seconds, we'll gently get active. And let's go ahead. So gently pressing the balls of the feet into the floor, attempting to reverse the stretch, ramping up tension as we go. Really squeezing here for these last 5, 3, 2, 1, and let's reverse that, attempting to pull yourself deeper into that stretch, using the top part of your foot, using your tibans, squeezing deeper into that dorsiflexion, ramping up tension as we go. Big tension here to finish. 3, 2, 1. Big breath out, relax, nice and passive. Again, scanning through that whole lower limb. Whatever feels like it's holding you back from getting deeper in the stretch, just try to relax through that tissue, using your breath, using a nice calm state of mind. Let's take one more breath here, and we'll switch sides. So let's find a low dragon position on the right side. Let that chest get heavy on top of that lower right leg. Again, we're trying to target that mid-calf area. Might be gastrocs, might be soleus, might be a bit of both. Settle into whatever posture feels right in the position. And note where you feel like you're being pulled the most. And try to get passive through that tissue. And again, finding your pain-free range of motion. If it hurts, we don't do it, and that is a hard rule. It's the only hard rule. Everything else is just about feeling out what your body needs. In a few seconds, we'll gently get active here again by attempting to press the toes down into the floor. And let's go ahead, pressing the balls of the feet down into the floor, attempting to reverse the stretch. Ramping up tension as we go. Finishing with a big squeeze. 3, 2, 1, and let's reverse that, squeezing through the top part of your foot, attempting to pull that ankle further into the stretch. Ramping up tension as we go. Finishing with some big force, really squeezing here towards the end. Big breath out, relax, get nice and passive. Settle into whatever amount of stretch feels right for today. Mentally go back to your happy place. Scanning through that ankle, through the foot, anything that feels tense, just let go. Nice calming rhythm with your breath. Let's take one more good quality diaphragmatic breath. We'll slowly sigh out that breath, and we'll call it a day. Thanks for joining us here with some 5-pillar mobility. Hope your shoulders and ankles are feeling great. Hope you enjoyed the session. If you're liking the program, remember to subscribe and like the video, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Have a great day.